Welcome back to another Pow Pow World video. In case you didn't know, Pow Pow World is my very own creature collector concept inspired by the likes of Pokemon, Digimon, and many other monster tamers. Today we'll be going over designs that just barely relate to the holiday season. I was debating if I wanted to do Christmas themed designs like I did with Halloween, but the Christmas theme just wasn't as appealing to me. However, I still wanted to make some Pow Pow designs that would somehow celebrate this season. And that's when I thought, let's make some toy/object based designs. I absolutely adore object-based Pokemon, and toys are kind of a perfect fit for the holiday season without so explicitly being Christmassy. So let's introduce the first design. This design was actually going to be part of my last video, which focused on Pow Pow living in the icy areas of the land. But I decided to save it for this video since it's theme fit here. I don't know if y'all can relate, but I tend to see faces in cars, usually with the headlights being some sort of eyes and the grille being a mouth of some sort. Then one day I saw this cool illustration of a sci-fi vehicle, and that's when I saw a Pow Pow within it. I of course made sure to deviate and expand upon the concept vehicle, not only to avoid copying, but to bake in other design aspects that I thought would be funny, which will be revealed in this color variant. Rather than a vehicle, I thought it would make a great sled Pow Pow, one that people ride on in the snow, but I don't like the idea of this Pow Pow being dragged through the ground, so it'll act more as a hoverboard that can carry you across any kind of terrain. Thinking about how some Pow Pow interact with people and how they can be incorporated into the world is important for me, and I like how this one does that. For the colors, its look kind of reminded me of killer whales, so I leaned into that. And it's also supposed to live in the colder climates, so it all kind of works together. And the design was pretty much set from there. Jetpo, the hoverboard Pow Pow. Jetpo are extremely popular with the youth. Kids love riding on these very fast Pow Pow throughout the city. During the winter season, many young scouts will go out into the icy cold areas to find and befriend a Jetpo. So another reason I thought this Pow Pow would kind of make a great holiday Pow Pow is because it kind of resembles a Christmas roast, which I tried to better show in its color variant. It's super silly design, but the fact that it's a sled, well, more of a hoverboard at this point, and a holiday roast at the same time makes it a perfect holiday design without being too Christmassy. I also just like how weird it is, which is something you're going to hear a lot throughout this video with these designs. These Pow Pow designs are going to lean more on the robot, man-made looking side of things, including this next design. So this is the doodle board I worked on back in April of 2023, where I was just trying to come up with some Pow Pow ideas. With these explorations, I definitely try to focus on the more silly side of my drawing tendencies. It's something I want to play up in my creature designs, and to give Pow Pow a better sense of identity when being compared to other creatures from different creature collector franchises. I've been wanting a few of these doodles to become Pow Pow for quite some time now, and for two of them, the time has finally come. So starting off, I really gravitated toward this doodle of an alligator that had two pair of tusks. I really enjoyed its silhouette and thought the concept was just fun enough to be a Pow Pow. The reason I thought it fit under the toy theming is because I kind of gave it this boxy shape that makes it seem like some sort of object or robot. This design doesn't actually have a strong concept. It's just this weird gator thing that looks like it came from some cube-shaped dimension. But I love that for it, and like I've said before, I like designs that are just kind of dumb and silly. So for this Pow Pow, it really was just leaning into that. To help sell that this Pow Pow resembled a toy, I want to play up the cube nature of this design. Making sure things make sense in a 3D space is a weak point of mine, and in a cubish design, that was really going to show. So I spent plenty of time making sure lines were lining up with one another by using parallel lines as my guide. It was tedious, but also kind of fun. I'm really glad I played up the cube nature of its design, because otherwise it would have just been a gator with tusks, which is fun, but definitely not as creative or unique. This design actually made me question if a toy type should be a thing, since it really didn't fit any of the types I had currently. Plus, it would also be a really unique typing. I think it would be fun to group all the more object or robot looking designs together this way. But at the same time, I don't find it all too necessary. I think it's more fun as an unofficial grouping. For the colors, I went back and forth on whether I should make it a typical gator green or go some alternative toy colorway. But I wanted the shape of the design to show off its toy nature rather than the color. So having it resemble a cartoon gator I think better highlighted that contrast. But with that, let's introduce Tuskgator, the double tusk Pow Pow. While their giant mouth and tusks can be quite intimidating, Tuskgator tend to be very mild-natured Pow Pow. They are actually quite head empty and enjoy spending most of their time lying in the grass. Overall, another fun design. Not much to say about it other than I'm happy to include it in the Pow Pow roster. It's definitely different and I like that for it. But I can see it being quite controversial as it is quite basic and is essentially a gator with tusks. But under the toy theming, I think it all kind of works out. Moving on to this next design that also came from the same doodle board as Tuskgator, it was actually the first one I drew on this board. And I liked it so much, I drew it twice, because I knew it would turn into a Pow Pow eventually. This design looks so stupid, and that's when I knew I had to make it a Pow Pow. Cool and elegant designs are amazing, but the thing about me is that I love silly and fun. And I think this design kind of has that. It's this weird, squat, two-legged creature with a giant drill on top of its head. And it's perfect. I actually don't know if the other two mini drills are needed, and they actually don't make a lot of sense, but I also like that about it. I don't know, it just adds something for me. It's one of those designs that feel like a kid designed it, which is why I think it's perfect for this video. And also kind of fitting for the toy theme. For its color, I used a bright red to kind of play into that toyish feeling. And unlike Tuskgator, I enjoy how it doesn't look anything like any real living creature. But with that, let's introduce Borto, the drilling Pow Pow. This Pow Pow can be found in many different types of fields. Its ability to drill holes has made it popular on construction sites, cave rescue missions, and mining work as well. I considered Borto being an evolution to Drillbee since they both have the drill thing going on, but I didn't intend it to be an evolution. It's supposed to be a standalone thing, just as Drillbee is a standalone Pow Pow. They both just happen to have drills. Hopefully they're not too similar enough where it's confusing, but I can always address that later. But yeah, I'm really happy with Borto, and I definitely want some more of my designs to head in this direction. This last design was actually originally sketched up for my Halloween video. It's based on Tanuki's, which are these raccoon dog yokai from Japanese folklore that can turn into objects. And one of the objects it's known to transform into is a pot, or in this case, I made it a witch's cauldron. I love Tanuki's, so I've been waiting for a chance for this design to become a Pow Pow. And although it's probably more suited for Halloween, the fact that it is an object-based design made me debut it in this video. It was honestly really straightforward since the original doodle was pretty much perfect to me. Just had to do a ton of cleanup and had to make sure the things like the cauldron handles and the feet were right, which took me longer than I thought it would. The colors also took me a bit of time, since there was honestly so many palettes that could have been great, but I leaned into a very autumny orange pink. But let's introduce Tacooki, the crawling cauldron Pow Pow. Tacooki makes a great traveling companion. Its cauldron can be used to make all sorts of things from healing elixirs to delicious cuisines. However, Tacooki are known to mess with their ingredients and sneak a bit of its own magic into the recipe when brewing or cooking. I love Tacooki. It's super silly and I could easily imagine it in Pow Pow World. All the chefs and witches of the world would for sure need this Pow Pow on their team. It's a very clumsy design, but also very whimsical too. Also the name, probably one of my favorites so far. So these are all the toy or object-based designs to celebrate the holidays. Probably not what you were expecting under the Christmas tree, but I do hope you enjoy some of them. I know object-based designs are not the most popular by fans, especially in Pokemon, but they're definitely some of my personal favorites, and I plan on including a decent amount in my own creature collector. And I really love the collection I have so far. In addition to these Pow Pows presented today, I would also group Clucky in here too. My gotcha slot machine chicken Pow Pow. I just love how silly and whimsical I can get with these object-based designs. But yeah, let me know what you think of them. Do you like these object-based Pow Pows, or are they too silly for your liking? Or maybe a bit uncanny? Good or bad, it's always fun to read. And no worries if they're not your speed. I make Pow Pow for me first and foremost, so I'll love them enough for all of us. Since this is probably my last Pow Pow World video for the year 2023, I just want to extend an appreciation for those of you who have been following along. Or even if this is your first video of mine, I really appreciate you making it to the end. It really means a lot to have people watch the things I create. And all the comments and interactions, I really appreciate all of it. Thanks for all the love and support for the first year of the channel, and hopefully there will be lots more in 2024. But with that, thanks so much for watching, and I will see ya next time.